What's going on, traders? Hope everybody had a great weekend, and we'll be going through an analysis of the S&P 500, the Spider ETF, as well as looking at a daily plan for Monday, some areas where we may want to engage the market and manage our risk. Before we do that, we're going to look over the economic calendar for the week as well. But before we get into that, reminder that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and in no way should be viewed as financial advice. So looking at the economic calendar for this week, not too much to go over. We do have retail sales on Tuesday at 8:30. Wednesday, we do have FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern from the July meeting. So we want to keep an eye on that, of course. Thursday, we do have initial jobless claims at 8:30. And Friday, nothing on the docket, but it is OPEX. So that is something we want to be aware of as well. So we're going to start off with the weekly chart here and the bigger picture. And, we've been talking about, this extreme overbought reading in the markets on the weekly, and finally really starting to see that momentum shift come in a little bit here, as you can see. And that is something we were anticipating. And happy to say Friday we finally did hit our target at that 444, a retest of this bigger breakout. They tried to get below just briefly. I believe the low on a Friday was 443.35, but we could not fill that gap down all the way to the 442s. So we'll be watching that as well. The one thing, though, where we did stop, I think it is interesting to note, we pretty much stopped right at that weekly 9. Right, the low on Friday again was 443.35, and that weekly 9 sitting right at 443.29. So pretty much that weekly 9 was defended by the bulls, and we will watch to see if it can be continually defended this week. So not really too much else to go over on the weekly chart here, but I did want to bring our attention to the bigger picture fibs. And we've been talking about that 23.6 retracement here. Whoops, wrong one. We've been talking about that 23.6 retracement, which we did close just below it, and that's that 446.25 level. And we'll be watching that this week still to see if we are trading under or over that to help give us a little bit of a potential bias on the directional movements of the market, because in my opinion the bulls definitely need to hold that or be over that for any hope of bullish momentum, at least intraday speaking, of course. So let's keep an eye on that level this week, and we've been talking about that here for the last couple of sessions as being an important area. So let's stay cognizant of that. All right, what else do we want to go over here? Let's look at some of our bigger picture trends. Now, we were watching, of course, this big trend line here. You guys all, should know it, by now. Major trend line coming up in this area, and we were talking, I'm going to just go to the daily here, we were talking whether or not we'd be trading under or over it as well for some context of the strength in market, and we are still trading under that trend line. So as long as we do stay under it, there is that chance, for further downside in the market. And you can see a few times we did try to, last week we tried to break above and failed. I did it again, tried to break above and failed, and we haven't really gotten anywhere close to it since then. The other thing that I wanted to bring to our attention, now we were watching those, again, those extreme overbought conditions here on our Momo when we started talking about this potential downturn coming into the markets. And now, at least as far as the daily is concerned, we're not quite there yet, but we're starting to get into the oversold readings here on the daily. Now, of course, the weekly is nowhere near oversold. We're still drastically overbought as far as that's concerned, but I do think that it's interesting that we are starting to come, and you can see it here, starting to get into that area. Now, of course, we can sell deeper into this without a doubt, but something that we want to keep an eye on as this progresses. So we'll be watching that. All right, so let's get into some potential trade plans for Monday. Usually my least favorite day of the week to trade, but let's see what we can look at for tomorrow and see if there are any trade ideas that might be presented to us. All right, so first thing I want to look at is we're going to just go into our fib retracements pretty quickly. I have updated them for this week's price action. And let's just go into the hourly chart here. And I'm glad as time is passing, so I don't have to see this ugly glitch candle anymore. But the one thing I do want to mention just off the bat looking at this is this potential hourly inverted head and shoulders. And you know that what I say about these head and shoulders and inverted head and shoulders as well is there's no confirmation on these patterns specifically, unless we see a break of that neckline. And right now, look where the neckline is sitting. No coincidence here, right pretty much at our 446, 25, 30 area. That zone here is at that 38.2. So you can see here a potential head, shoulder, potential shoulder. So we'll be watching. We start to get some nice pushes over here. Over this area, and that could potentially lead us to more upside in the market. But with this being such a key level, not only just here on our day trading fibs, but on the bigger picture fibs, because that lines up with our 23.6 fib level. You can see that it could be prone to look above and fail type setups. Which we saw here in the morning in the last session, and I guess a little bit here in pre-market, in after hours on Friday. So watch out for extra confirmation if we do start to get over this level, and then we can potentially trade to the long side up above it, right? So let's get into our balance areas and take a look at what we may be looking at still for tomorrow. And I'm sure that we'll be talking about that 446.25 area again here as we go over them. And there they are. Okay. So here again, it's our pivot area, that 446.23. Need to get back over there really for the bulls to have a chance. I actually took a short off of it on Friday right here and got a nice move down. You can see this 445 level still has been a pretty important level as well for the bulls. We've been tapping that area here, and this is the lower part of our balance area on this in this zone. And you can see every time that we've kind of come into this 445.50, we've seen the bulls come in again. We did spend a little time below it in the morning on Friday, when we did actually ping that 444 level that I've been kind of calling out for a while as a likely place that we may price may come to retest. And you can see We really didn't get that follow through to the downside. We came right into this next area of a balance, right at that 443.62.50 area, all the way down to 443. So really going to see bears really going to need to get under this Friday's swing low for even more momentum to the downside. But as it stands, we'll, at the very minimum, going to see if we can actually recapture that 445, 445.50. And if we can, and then we will potentially be looking up again at that 446.25.30 area. If we can get back over that, we'll be looking to be trading back up into the 447s, 447.50 area. We get over that and we're looking above to 448 and then 448.50 and then 449, maybe 448.90, anywhere in that zone, retesting this next balance just up above us, right? And we've talked about this before, even coming up to this 447, 447.50, it can be a short area as well. If we do trade up into the 449, 448.50 area, that can be a short area as well as targets for longs if you do get a chance to go long potentially on a confirmation break of that 446.25 area. So, multiple ways you can play it, right? So, but if we do start to actually get those confirmations over 440, 449, 448.50, holding over that, our next big key area for the bulls is going to be that 450 half gap of this next balance above us, and then over that, we'll be looking for that 451.30. As you can see, we traded up here, and that also on Thursday offered a nice short opportunity as we came into that area. So you can see how nicely so far price has been reacting at our the tops and the bottoms of these balance areas that we've been watching. So a lot of the levels, again, we haven't really gone to really anywhere for the last few sessions. It's just a slow grind down, but so these levels should be all pretty cemented in your mind, and I don't really think that there's too much I need to go over. Let's see what we get Monday, expecting more of a range day. Let the market kind of work itself out, set the tone for the rest of the week, and then we can see what we will get on Tuesday. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we do have FOMC minutes. But to be honest, those really have been less and less kind of a market event over the last couple of minutes. So we'll see, what kind of volatility they bring this time, if any. Either way, we should still be cognizant of the event. So I think that's about all I wanted to go over. I guess the only other thing that I will mention, so we went over some of those bull levels, but let's really quickly, before we close it out, go over some more of these bear levels here. If we still stay trading below that 446.25 area, and certainly below 445, 445.50, as long as we trade below that, looking at the shorts to come back down into the 443 zone here, in the top of this balance. And if they can break below, then we will look for that 442.50 area, down right here in the middle of this half gap. And if they are able to take out that 442.40 area, I will be looking then towards that, like I said, 442, maybe 441.75, and then 441.35, we'll call it. Under that, we'll be looking at 441. So those are some short side targets for the bears to watch out for. All right, well, I hope this is helpful, and if it has been, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. It would mean a ton to me, as well as giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps the videos be pushed out to a wider audience on YouTube. And if you haven't noticed, I hope you're enjoying the nice new audio quality. I did finally get a new microphone, so now you guys can hear this very, my crystal clear voice, right? Anyway, all right, guys, have a great rest of your evening. Take care and have a good night.